will continue with the Christmas story. Today's story is called Snowflake. 10-year-old Becky stood in front of the pet store looking through the large window at the puppies and kittens. She smiled and giggled at the well-groomed animals excited by her attention. I wonder how much one of these costs, she thought, putting her hands in her coat pockets on this cold day before Christmas. Becky walked in and gazed at the selection of adorable kittens and puppies. "May I help you?" An approaching lady inquired. "I'm looking for a present for my sister, maybe a kitten or a puppy." "How much are these?" Becky asked, pointing to a row of caged puppies. "We have some for $45 on up to several $100s. The sales lady replied. "I only have $9 and some cents," she said sadly. "Well, I'm sorry. We don't have anything that inexpensive." "Okay," Boss said as she looked around the small store. The lady left to help another customer. Becky wandered towards the back of the store. Her eyes were caught by a lone cage in a corner that housed a small, frail white puppy. "Hi, little doggy," Becky said to the almost lifeless animal. The puppy strained to lift its head, acknowledging Becky's presence. One ear rose up slightly, and its frowning eyes opened halfway. "Come here, boy," she prompted the puppy. It tried to get up, but immediately fell back. "What's wrong with you? Are you okay?" Becky asked. The sales lady noticed Becky in the back corner and approached. "How much is this puppy?" Becky asked. "Oh, you don't want that one," the sales lady sighed. "He's got a bad leg and can't walk. He wouldn't make a good pet. But if I wanted to buy him," how much Becky asked. "Honey, he's not for sale. Save your money or get your parents to come back with you and buy one of those nice puppies up front on display. Now run along, dear," the lady snapped. "My sister would like that puppy," she said as the sales lady hurried away. "Bye-bye," Becky said to the puppy. She left the store and headed home, saddened by her empathy for the frail little dog. Becky's mom was busy preparing food for tomorrow, Christmas Day. "Becky, why don't you go watch TV or play? Your sister won't be home until 4:30 this afternoon, so you'll have to keep yourself occupied." "Okay," she responded. She went into the family room and turned on the TV. She couldn't help but think about the lonesome puppy. The more she thought about it, the sadder she became. "I wish I could do something to get that puppy, but I guess there's nothing I can do," she conceded. Moments later, she noticed a man and woman on TV talking about getting what you want out of life. She turned up the volume and listened. "Wait, Andy, why is it that most people can't seem to reach their goals or get what they want out of life?" the lady on TV asked. "Interesting question," the man replied. "And the answer is primarily because they don't believe they can achieve what they want to. And those that think they can don't follow through on their ideas and decisions with action. One of the most important things that can make success happen is taking action." The lady replied, "It is," he agreed, "and most people have a good idea of what they should do. But they don't take action and they give up. If it's important, you will find the time, you will find a way, you will not give up. When you do this, you realize your own power." The lady smiled and asked her guest, "Okay, Andy, I have something that's important to me that I feel I must do. What do I do to make it happen?" He smiled and answered, "You have got to believe with certainty that you have to ask yourself the questions, what will it take to make this happen? And then you have to take action and be committed to making that important dream happen. Be persistent and don't give up." Becky excitedly hopped up from her chair. She knew what she had to do. She put on her coat and headed out the door. "I'm going to the pet store, Mom. Be careful and don't be too long," her mom admonished. The pet store was busy with Christmas shoppers, making last-minute purchases. Becky entered the store and headed straight to the back corner where her new friend was caged. "Hi, boy," she said happily. "I'm going to get you out of here and take you home with me." The little puppy responded with more enthusiasm, sensing an air of excitement in Becky's voice. The same sales lady from Becky's prior visit approached. Again, her. "I thought I told you before that this one's not for sale." And Becky interrupted. "Excuse me, ma'am?" She hesitated and, regaining her confidence, said politely but sternly in a raised voice, "What would it take to be able to take this puppy home with me today? Somewhat dismayed by Becky's unexpectedly direct question, the saleslady paused. I'm sorry, this one's not for sale, the saleslady replied. Now go along home. Undaunted by the rebuff, Becky turned and approached a second lady who she assumed worked there. Excuse me, ma'am, but I would like to know what it would take to buy that puppy? She asked, pointing to the lonesome cage in the corner. This saleslady replied, I don't think that one's for sale. We have some very nice puppies out front, Becky interrupted, but I want that one in the corner. What would it take to get that puppy? The saleslady paused a moment and said, You don't want that one. It has a bad leg and can't run and jump, and it can't. Becky politely but unwaveringly interrupted again. That doesn't matter to me. I know my sister would love that puppy. What would it take to buy that puppy today? I'm sorry, but we're busy, and I need to help some other people. The saleslady said, brushing her off. The vision of the man on TV, saying, Don't give up, replayed again in Becky's mind. She looked around for another employee and spotted a third person, an older man, coming out of a storeroom. Excuse me, sir, Becky waved. I have a very important question about one of your pets. The man came over and asked Becky what she wanted. I want that puppy over there, the one all by itself. What would it take to get that puppy now? I want it for a Christmas present for my sister. Oh, the man said, that little puppy has a bad leg and he wouldn't make a very nice pet. I'm very sorry, he's not for sale. Her enthusiasm dampened a bit, but she remembered the passionate TV spiel about not giving up and looking for a way to make this dream a reality. What can I do to make this happen? She asked herself. She walked around the store asking herself this question over and over. Finally, she headed out and asked the man, How late are you open tonight? Until 6 o'clock, he replied. It was now 4:30. She knew she had to hurry. The air grew colder as the afternoon warmed. The pet store clock now read 5:45. The hectic day was coming to an end, and the 3 pet store employees were breathing a sigh of relief. One saleslady looked around the store at the many empty cages, empty due to their occupants finding new homes for Christmas. A front door opened. Becky hurried in, brimming with confidence, and proclaimed, I'm here to buy that little puppy in the back. Like we told you before, you don't want that one, the saleslady responded. Becky's mom entered, pushing her sister's wheelchair. That puppy back there would make a great present for my sister, Becky said, leading her sister to the lone cage in the corner. All 3 salespeople converged on Becky, her sister, and her mom. The older man tried again to explain. I'm really sorry, but this little puppy is not for sale. He has a bad leg, he can't walk, he can't jump, he can't play. The man paused, looking at Becky's wheelchair-bound sister. He stood there, first confused, and then awakened by the reality that confronted him. Becky's sister looked at the small, frail puppy and said, I would love to have this one because I know how it feels to have legs that don't work right. I'll name him Snowflake because he is a special, one-of-a-kind present. I understand, Snowflake. Everyone stood around looking at each other. Everyone knowing that all involved had just received a Christmas gift in the form of a very important lesson about life. God will bless. We continue with the Christmas story. Today's story is called The Christmas Duckhold. Wind swept through the weathered coats of 5-year-old Rebecca and her mother as they searched their small yard for the source of a faint quack. Over here, Mummy, look here. Rebecca pointed under a bush. The source of this quacky noise was a small, skinny brown mallard duck that was limping around on only one good webbed foot. It hobbled slowly in one direction, bumped into a wooden post, and then turned to try its luck in another direction. The helpless little duck wandered about the best it could, stumbling into things and quacking wearily in hope of a miracle or at least a small morsel of food or drink of water. Mommy, what's wrong with it? Rebecca said, trying to get a closer look. They got down on their knees in the sub-freezing cold and cornered the duck against an old wooden fence to get a better view. Rebecca's mom lamented something's wrong with one of its legs. Oh, and look, one of its eyes is bruised and damaged, and the other one looks almost completely crusted over. Honey, I think it's blind. Rebecca's mom gently grabbed the helpless feet. It put up little resistance since it was tired, dazed, and hungry. Come on, Rebecca, let's take it inside. Inside the drafty wooden house, they both sat down between their Christmas tree and slightly burning fire. Rebecca's mom looked closer at the homeless and battered duck. Is it going to be okay? Rebecca asked her mom in an unsure tone. Honey, it's in pretty bad shape. Looks like some other ducks or something else has been pecking at it too. Poor thing probably hasn't eaten in quite a while. I don't know if it's going to be okay or not. Maybe we should take it to a doctor. Rebecca thought out loud. But Rebecca, the animal clinic is probably closed. Now, being it's Christmas Eve and all, and in the back of her mind, she thought to herself, I don't know if we can afford an expensive vet bill right now. Rebecca looked up at her mom. What are we going to do? Rebecca's mom thought a moment and looked at the poor little duck that seemed like it was near the end of its rope. Oh, honey, we'll take it somewhere, Rebecca's mom decided. We try and find someone to help. They wrapped the ailing duck in an old worn towel. Its neck extended out and down from the towel. They walked out into the icy cold evening with the sun just setting below a crisp. As they walked down the street, the duck made a faint quack in desperation. The evening grew darker and colder by the moment. After walking several blocks, they sat down on a park bench to rest a moment. Looking around, the only light visible in the dark night, besides an occasional street light, was about 3 blocks down the street. That's the city hospital down there, her mom noticed. Rebecca looked and questioned. Do you think they can do anything for our little ducky? We might as well give it a try, honey. They stood up with renewed encouragement and headed toward the hospital. Upon entering the street front hospital doors, they noticed only a handful of people there. At the front desk, next to a small desktop Christmas tree, an older lady hurriedly looked up and snapped, What can I do for you? Hello, we have this small duck who doesn't seem to be able to see and has a hurt leg. Rebecca's mom explained. Is there anything you can do for it? The lady stood up and looked at the duck. That thing doesn't look too good. She added sternly, sorry, we don't take any animals here. Not supposed to, and we don't have any room for them. You will have to take that duck out of here. I think there's an animal hospital down the street a ways. Disappointed, they turned and headed out of the hospital in the direction the lady had pointed. After a couple of blocks, they noticed a weathered white sign up ahead with black letters proclaiming Animal Clinic. Arriving at their hopes were dashed as they stared at a darkened storefront, and it's closed. Mommy, Rebecca confirmed. Rebecca's mom sighed, and they both sat down on a nearby bus bench facing the cold, deserted street with Duck in arms. What do we do now? She thought to herself, both cold and weary. They could looked around and pointed to the animal clinic. Mommy, there's a light on in there now. They stood up, went to the front door and peeked through the glass panes. Light coming from a back room gave rise to renewed hope. Rebecca's mom knocked on the door. Hello, anyone here? Her voice raised. Hello, she asked louder as she knocked several more times. After a brief pause, a loud voice echoed from a back room. Just a minute, be there in a moment. Soon, the front lights turned on, and a short, stocky, older man appeared. He opened the front door part way. Hello, what do we have here? Looking at the sick little duck. He sighed. Oh dear, I don't think it can see. Rebecca offered. We found it fluttering in our yard and are trying to find some help for it, her mom added. Rebecca pleaded, Mr. Doctor, can you make it better? He looked at her worried frown and answered, we'll see what we can do. Bring it in. He took the duck and put it down on a waist-high counter and unwrapped the towel. He looked at Rebecca's mom and asked, would you hold our little duck friend's wings together against his body? He turned to Rebecca, and you can help by talking softly to it. With precision, the seasoned older man delicately picked away the crust, completely covering one of the duck's eyes and almost obscuring the other one. Now we'll put some drops in the eyes, he said confidently as he put 2 drops in each eye. I'll give our friend a shot that will help with the infection. The duck could barely manage a blink and muttered a slight quack. He turned the duck on its side and looked at the hurt leg. Doesn't seem to be broken. Maybe just twisted or sprained. What do you think? Rebecca's mom asked. The man looked up and smiled. With some tender, loving care and some medicine, I think this duck has got a good chance of a full recovery. Both Rebecca and her mom smiled a sigh of relief. I will keep our little Christmas duck here tonight, the man said. I'll give him some food, water, and a good night's rest, and we will see how he is in the morning. Can we come back to see him? Rebecca inquired. Of course, the man replied. We will take him outside and release him when he is better. Thank you for your help. Rebecca's mom paused. How much do we owe you? The man laughed. Oh, don't worry about it. Glad to help. Consider this a Christmas present, and I thank you for getting this duck in here just in time. He would not have made it through the night. They turned and walked out of the clinic and headed toward home. Rebecca looked back and noticed the clinic was dark again. She smiled and hurried along with her mom. They soon reached the small hospital they had sought help from previously. The front desk lady and a friend were standing outside the hospital entrance talking. Rebecca's mom approached them. Merry Christmas, she said, cheerfully displaying a big smile. How's the duck? The lady asked. He's at the animal clinic, Rebecca's mom answered, and the man that looked at him thinks he's going to be okay, and we get to go see him tomorrow, Rebecca added with a smile and a voice of excitement. Rebecca and her mom continued their walk home. The front desk lady looked at her friend and commented, they came in a while ago with an injured duck, had to turn them away. What a way to spend their Christmas Eve. Out in the cold dark night with that poor unlucky duck, she lamented. Unlucky duck? The friend replied, nope.